Did you say ever hearing the tragedy of Darth Jar Jar Binks the Wise? Miss I no think so. It's no uno tello the Jedi would speak to you. It's a Sith legend. Darth Jar Jar Binks was a Dark Lord of the Sith, more powerful and more wise. He's a using the midichlorians to create life. He's a had very bombard knowledge of the dark side. He's a even keeping the ones he's a caring about from dying. The dark side of the Force and earn a pathway to many abilities, some considering to be so unnatural. He's a becoming so powerful the only thing he's afraid of was losing his power. But eventually, of course, he's a did. Unfortunately, he's a taught his apprentice everything he's a knowing. Then his apprentice killing his in his sleep. Ironic. He's a saving others from death, but he's a no saving himself.
Welcome back to the Coruscant Courier, everybody, with your hosts, Mark and Jonathan. Thank you so much, Darth Jar Jar the Wise, for that little introduction. I have with me here my brother in the Force and real life, in the flesh, Jonathan. And we would like to welcome you guys to the Coruscant Courier podcast. And we like to say just one thing. Now this is podcasting. Jonathan, what do you got for us today?
Well, Mark, lots of different convergences in the Force this week. Quite honestly, there's so many things we could talk about this week, but there is a couple of things I wanted to mention to our listeners because I definitely think there is some really fun.
Can you talk about our parents?
Wait, what?
Are you talking about our parents? Do we have listeners?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny.
You say that so like confidently and matter of fact. Maybe I should just let you roll with it, but I think it makes me cringe inside.
Yeah, I know. But
Anyway,
hey, we can at least pretend, even though we like to think Star Wars is real.
can always pretend.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so some of the things I want to talk about today was all the rumors swirling around about the upcoming shows now that Clone Wars had ended. Because of course, our last episode that we did, we covered the ending of Clone Wars and kind of the whole capstone of how Dave Filoni ended the series, and we got that incredible ending with Vader finding Ahsoka's lightsaber after she tried to fake her death. It just
So
kind
good.
of yeah, it just kind of spurred a lot of questions on where they're going to go with the series next. Rumors have pretty much confirmed that there is some sort of live action Darth Maul series in the making right now to explain, because in the series, in Clone Wars in season 7, that would the new episodes that we saw Darth Maul talk with Dryden Voss, who we saw in Solo. He was the main villain in Solo. We saw him speak with the Pikes. We saw Maul speak with Voss and a few others. Apparently, this series is going to cover how in the world he began to own the underworld of basically the underworld of the universe.
By the time we get to 2030, I don't think there will be a single minute in Maul's timeline that is not accounted for on film or in a animated series or a comic book. I
Well,
love it. I love it. I'm
You're
fine
not
with it.
you're not
Oh my
kidding.
goodness.
You're not kidding, man. Like it's pretty insane, but the reason is because Maul is such an incredible character. Like
Oh
people
yeah.
love him, and we're finally I mean, his storyline is so interesting. It's not the fact that Maul is just an amazing character. I mean, he is. He's probably my second favorite all-time Star Wars character, period. But if you really take into account just how many different facets his life contains and all the different things he's been able to do in the Star Wars universe, I mean, you'd be kind of crazy not to do something with Maul. So I'm
Oh, yeah,
interested.
he's lit. He's awesome. I mean, he's the coolest. I mean, gosh, since bringing him back, I mean, that was the best thing in the world. So I'm
The,
all about it.
the Sith stole everything from me.
I was saved by a bunch of fans.
That was hilarious.
I think that was like how episode 1 should have ended or something. I don't know.
I think it was how it should have ended. Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah, that was
Oh,
awesome.
it was great. So yeah.
So true though.
So yeah, just throwing that out there because I think that the Maul
idea, Maul coming back with his own live action series, I think would be a brilliant move for Lucasfilm. I think
Oh,
it's
it'd be
something
so cool.
they should do because Ray Park is already back involved with the franchise. I mean, doing all of the choreography. So we'd have Ray
Sam
Park.
Witwer's still on board.
Oh, Sam Witwer always wants to do it, and
Yeah, he loves Star Wars. Loves
so
the show.
that's rumor number one, and obviously we know that there was other Star Wars series in progress. From what I have been reading, the Obi-Wan series is on an indefinite hiatus. I don't know what's happening there because I'm really upset about that. But apparently,
No, no, that's just it's just scripts, and they just didn't like the scripts. They hired a new script writer. It's only on hiatus because of COVID. Like they were gonna start filming, I think, this summer. So it's just pushed back a little bit. I mean, it's the last thing Ewan McGregor said about it is that it's still happening, and but they only had to push back filming. But it's the release date should be the same. So I'm not worried about. They're not gonna scrap Obi-Wan. Come
no, I'm
on.
not saying they're going to scrap it. My concern is that the reason they threw out the scripts is because Kathleen Kennedy didn't like the scripts, and we all know, not like trying to get into how good Star Wars has been over the last few years because
But exactly, trying to get
you know,
into it.
but I don't trust Kathleen Kennedy, and because remember, she was the one who scrapped Lord and Miller from making The Last Jedi.
No,
Oh,
Solo.
sorry. Wait, say that one. Oh,
Solo.
Solo. But
Yeah.
who had 8 originally?
Well, Ryan Johnson always said 8. 9 was
9.
Trevorrow.
Yeah,
Trevorrow.
9 was Colin Trevorrow. So or Trevorrow, however you say his name. So I'm sorry she does not instill confidence in me whatsoever if she's scrapping the scripts. Especially after
Well, okay, she's not an idiot. Like, I mean, yeah, there were a couple mistakes, but I don't think. I mean, she's worked with George Lucas pretty closely, so I'm not worried about that. I think there were some calls made that were not great for the sequel trilogy, but I don't think that that's going to bleed over. I mean, we have Deborah Chow directing all of Obi-Wan, and we know her episodes were amazing
yes,
when
I
Mandalorian. So,
think she will do a
worried
good
about
job. I think she will do a good job with that series. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, and that's kind of my concern is not the fact that we're not going to get it because I think we are going to get it. I think that's pretty much all but confirmed. But I'm bummed that it's going to be getting pushed back, perhaps. But we are getting the prequel series for Cassian Andor, which is going to lead into Rogue One. We're going to get to see him and the adventures of K2SO, which I'm very
it. Yeah.
interested about because, as you know, I'm a huge Rogue One fan. It's top 3 all time for me, and Cassian's character is very interesting because of what he says towards the end of the movie, where he said, "A lot of us have done things on behalf of the rebellion that we are not proud of. That they killed and did things in the name of the rebellion because basically they were supposed to because they were fighting for a cause." So I honestly hope that they are going to explore that. Um, but but yeah, so I just there's a lot of great things coming up in the Star Wars universe. There's even uh, rumors about where Ahsoka is going to be going, other than Mandalorian. They think that Ahsoka could potentially show up in one of these live action series in some capacity. There's even well, Dave Filoni left the ending of Clone Wars completely wide open, in my opinion. There's been rumors that Mace Windu could have survived. I seriously don't think they would save Mace Windu after Clone Wars because Dave Filoni made it very clear that no one likes Mace Windu. Um,
But Samuel L. Jackson's on board, so I don't
that's
see.
true.
I mean, I've heard that too. I don't know. I would be excited. I love Mace. Well, I love Samuel L. Jackson. I like Mace Windu. He's cool. He's kind of a jerk sometimes, especially in Clone Wars, but
He is
in
at
season
least
7.
a jerk. That's putting it nicely.
But I would be so happy. I mean, I don't know. It could be any capacity. It could be current. It could be he survived. Could be past. Who cares?
There
I'm just happy for more Star Wars.
there are some fan theories that we are actually going to see in the Mandalorian, we're going to see some surviving Jedi from Clone Wars other than Ahsoka in live action. Oh well,
Yeah, Mandalorian season 2 is quickly turning into what episode 9 should have been. Just a smorgasbord of familiar characters. It's actually, I heard somebody say it like this. It's Mandalorian season 2 is quickly becoming Clone Wars season 8 and Rebels season 5.
no kidding. I didn't actually even think about that until you said it.
I
Um,
think it's awesome though. I
well,
mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, it's not going to be a main focal point of the series. I don't think it's
We
just going to be a springboard.
we know for sure that we're getting 3 characters. We know we're getting Boba Fett, which is crazy. We can talk about that in a minute. We're getting
Yeah, I
Boba Fett,
disagree with that. So yeah, we'll talk about that soon.
we're getting Bo-Katan. We're
Yeah,
getting
Katie Sackhoff.
yeah, we're getting Bo-Katan. We're getting Boba Fett, of course, as I already said, but he's being played by Tamara Morrison.
It's gonna be Rex. It's not Boba.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Don't no, but no, like literally Tamara Morrison confirmed the
I don't think that's true. No, here's the thing. I think everybody thinks it's gonna be Boba
it
Fett,
could be Rex.
but
I agree with you.
I
100%.
think he's gonna be Rex. Boba dead. He did.
I don't
He's so dead.
know. I
I'd
mean,
love for.
there
I would be so cool if he'd be alive, but no,
there
he's playing Rex. And I think that the people reporting on this stuff were just like, oh my gosh, that's Boba, it's coming back. It's like, no, it's probably Rex. If we're gonna see Ahsoka and we're seeing, it's gonna be Rex. Anyway,
there is always some truth in legends, and we know that in the legends, Boba Fett survives the Sarlacc pit. I would like to see it, but I'd be okay if he didn't come back. So yeah, we're at least going to see him in some capacity, Tamara Morrison, either as Rex or as Boba or as both. We don't really know. That'd be kind of awkward. Like, hey, you were a clone of me. That's cool. And then, of course, there has been rumors saying that we could see some Jedi that survived the Purge that are now going to resurface. Now that basically this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi, that now that the Empire is destroyed, that some of the Jedi are going to kind of hiding. Um, Mace Windu has been thrown out there. Plo Koon has been thrown out there, and
no, you've thrown Plo Koon out there.
so has Quinlan Voss. Those 3 have been thrown out as perhaps making appearances in some capacity in this series. I've been
You've
reading.
thrown out Plo Koon. I don't think anybody else did.
Oh, there's actually quite a few fan theories out there right now saying that uh, since Ahsoka is going to be playing what appears to be a big role, this might actually be a good time if Filoni did actually decide to save him. Would be a good time to implement him.
It doesn't make sense. Like, what kind of punk would you have to be to watch the entire galactic conflict in the Galactic Civil War and then do nothing?
According to George Lucas, according to Lucas, this came from Lucas in his most recent one of his recent interviews. He said that if Jedi survive the Purge, most of them would have been driven into hiding by fear. And for example,
For
Obi-Wan.
30 years?
Well, no. Listen up. Obi-Wan and Yoda stayed in hiding essentially and stayed very low key until the New Hope emerges. As
Well, yeah, because you
now,
knew they were waiting for something.
but we don't know. Some of the Jedi might not have known that they all survived. I mean, there's a very high probability that some of these Jedi are just somewhere off in the wilderness, and they just got away, and they
Lost in
assumed
the
everyone.
wilderness.
They assumed everyone is dead, and they're the only ones, and they concealed themselves. Especially if the Empire was sending out Inquisitors, they heard about that. It makes sense. I'm not saying that I would disagree.
Lame.
I'm
They'd
not,
be stupid Jedi that I would have very little respect for if they did that. So that's just all I'll say of that one. And well, to talk a little bit more about Mace Windu, actually, a little bit more credibility there. We actually are having some fan discussions on YouTube about that. Jonathan, you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this has actually been a thought from some people for quite a significant period of time now, is that there's a chance that Mace Windu survived the attack in Order 66. And we actually just had a fan comment on one of our theory videos about this, that we were talking about, of course, the possibility of Plo Koon being alive, and he brought up the possibility of Mace Windu surviving. And I think that is it's an interesting thing to talk about right now for a couple of reasons. Is one, we saw how Mace Windu was portrayed at the end of episode, what was it, 11, season 7, episode 11, or maybe it was episode 10. I'm sorry, it was episode 10 in Clone Wars.
In the last few episodes of Clone Wars.
Episodes, yeah. And when he called Ahsoka a citizen, he really did not make any more friends with Star Wars fans. People honestly hated him more because of that. And it's not like we think Mace Windu is a bad character. He's a great character. It's just who his character is. You can't help but not like. I mean, you can't help not liking him. Not liking him. I don't know how you would say that, but yeah, you can't help disliking him because of the way how arrogant he is, how of course, how arrogant he is with Anakin, but of course, the way that he treated Ahsoka, he's pretty much the embodiment of everything wrong with the Jedi. And uh, so, let me give you my take on why I think he's not alive. I have 3 reasons why, and I also have 3 reasons why I do believe he is alive.
Okay, yeah, just cover both sides of it so I don't say anything. Sure.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll cover why I don't think he's alive. I want
Yeah,
you to cover why you do think he's alive.
thank you.
Okay, good. So, reason number one of why I do not think Mace Windu is alive is I think in the movie itself there is substantial evidence to show.
You're talking episode 3, right?
Episode 3, yeah, in the movie, in Revenge of the Sith, there is very significant evidence that he died immediately, even before going out the window. When you are seeing Sidious absolutely just thrash Windu with Force lightning, he is probably giving him a solid 10 seconds of Force lightning. And do recall when he was doing the same thing to Luke in episode 6, he didn't even do as much Force lightning with as much power, and he said that Luke was going to die. Yeah, of course he didn't, and it's because, of course, the Force needed him to survive. But if you really look at Windu's, he was getting the Force lightning from Sidious at the height of Sidious's power. I mean, Windu was completely immobilized, and right before he gets thrown out the window, we hear him kind of let out this. You hear him kind of let out like this last breath, and you see his eyes go back behind. You see his eyeballs kind of roll back into his head, almost as if he has died. Like he kind of lets out that last groan of pain, and his body lifelessly goes out the window. It's not like he's conscious. I mean, he's definitely unconscious. To me, it looked like he died right there. So that's number one. Number two is even if he's not dead, going out the window, falling from that height in Coruscant, being unconscious, I think it's improbable, to say the least, that there's a way he could have survived that. So that, I think, is a problem. How would you say he survived? Would be how would you write that in? I don't know. That just seems far fetched to me. And the third thing is, I think Filoni, in the final season of Clone Wars, made it evident that no one likes Mace Windu, and he kind of made Mace Windu's death more satisfying because of the way he treated Ahsoka. People were actually kind of glad he died. If you were watching the Twitter comments and the Facebook comments and pretty much all social media, you were seeing comments about how happy people were that Mace Windu ended up dying, that he totally deserved it now after seeing how he treated Ahsoka. So I think Filoni was actually putting the final nail in the coffin that Mace Windu is not alive, that he is for certain he is dead. I don't know what your opinion is on that, but I think that was the final nail in the coffin. That was kind of the wink to the fans that, yeah, Mace ain't coming back. He dead. So what do you think about that, Mark?
So to recap, you're saying he clearly died in episode 3, and even if he didn't, the fall through Coruscant would have killed him, and because Filoni made it clear that everyone hates him. Is that correct?
That is actually a very, very good summary. Yes, that's exactly what I said.
I do listen.
And do you remember on my second point about him falling from that height? It's not that he couldn't survive the height, because we know that there's ways that, I mean, Anakin jumped off, in Attack of the Clones, he jumped off of the speeder right onto Zam Wesell's ship, and that was who knows how far. So I'm not saying that he couldn't survive the fall. I'm saying that since he is unconscious, he doesn't survive that fall. There's no way. So clarified.
Okay, so I'll give you my reasons why I think he could definitely be alive. Number one, Darth Maul.
Fair.
Number two, it was all he did was lose an arm, take a little bit of lightning. Granted, probably a high power of lightning and like a large quantity of pain, but not exactly. I don't know. It wasn't long enough to like kill him. I threw him out the window. Luke took minutes of that, I believe, in episode 6. So I don't think the lightning is enough to kill him. I mean, can it be enough? Sure. But I think he can definitely be alive. And in addition to that, I mean, you can totally survive that fall. I mean, Anakin jumped through, dove through all of Coruscant in episode 2. I mean, you've seen that. So I think he can be alive. I've always said that. I was like, if there's really anybody who could actually legitimately be alive, more so than Plo Koon, in most people's opinions, as our YouTube comments showed. Pretty obvious that he could definitely be alive. I have no issue with that. I'd like that. And here's another thing. Samuel L. Jackson is very clear and open about wanting to come back. And there's been rumors floating around that it is coming back, that Mace Windu is coming back, potentially to be spun off from the Obi-Wan series, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. I would like that. I would not be opposed to seeing some more Mace Windu, but that's just my opinion on that. What are your thoughts on that rumor of him spinning off from Obi-Wan?
I'm fine with it as long as I get to see him die again.
That's man, that's dark.
I know. Well, you have to understand, man. Like, and I know the Star Wars fans out there hearing this. I mean, I know everyone feels me here. Don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic character. Samuel L. Jackson did an incredible job with Mace Windu. But we're not supposed to like him. That's the point of his character. He's supposed to be everything wrong with the Jedi Order. He's supposed to be every reason why Anakin decides to choose the dark side over the light. He really is the embodiment of that. And I just don't know how they bring him back into the series because of how he was portrayed in the Clone Wars. I just find that unlikely. I'm not saying it won't happen. I say it could happen. I find it more believable that they might do a Mace Windu prequel series, maybe like a mini series to where they kind of explore what Mace Windu did.
Oh, great! More de-aging of Samuel L. Jackson. If we didn't get enough of that in Captain Marvel.
Oh, I know, right? But let's be real. He still looks darn good for his age.
Yeah,
he could easily pull it off. I just find that more likely than him actually being in the Obi-Wan series, because I know that one thing Filoni and Lucas both have said, is that they did not want to save too many Jedi to negate the power of Order 66. And I feel that...
but a couple. Just a couple.
Well, there's been more than a couple as of right now that I can name off the top of my head.
There's been Ahsoka.
Yep.
Kanan.
Yep.
Cal Kestis, which is a video game. I mean, he's there.
He's there.
As prominent.
Yoda and Obi-Wan.
Of course. And that's 5 I've got counted.
And the ones that we don't know yet. There's more that have survived that.
Right, and one of those can easily be Mace Windu.
I just feel like he's too polarizing of a character to bring back. I think that would...
He's not polarizing. I mean, like, dude, I mean, yeah, there's a few things he does that are like, kind of hate you. But, like, I would be thrilled to see Mace Windu. Are you kidding me? A prequel? I mean, you still like the guy. I mean, he did some things that were not great, but it's still, like, you don't hate him. So I think that to call him polarizing is, I mean, Jar Jar Binks is polarizing. Mace Windu is not polarizing. Samuel L. Jackson is amazing.
If you're looking at it like I am, I'm not saying he's polarizing for the same reasons that Rose would be, or Holdo, or the way they killed Snoke. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
the way they killed Snoke was amazing, and don't at me.
Oof. Well,
change my mind, but don't at me.
My whole point here about polarizing is, if you're looking at him from the Jedi perspective, he was a polarizing Jedi.
Boo. Thumbs down.
Why? Why do you disagree with that?
Because, I mean, yeah, dude, they were all like that, though. Even Yoda, to an extent. Even Obi-Wan was dogmatic. I mean, Mace Windu was a little bit more blunt about it, but he wasn't like a complete...
he was disrespectful, though, man. He was just a jerk.
Well, he had the right to be. He was well above Anakin. It's neither here nor there. My point is that because of what he did, or people don't like him, like, yeah, it doesn't really affect him coming back. So anyway, I wanted to read the YouTube comments. So this is from our video, Plo Koon is alive, and here's why. a theory. And original comment was from Nathaniel Jacob. He actually has Mace Windu as his avatar, so pretty cool. He said, "I know it's a Plo Koon video, but if he can survive a plane crash, Mace Windu might still be alive." And then another guy named Canadian Gopnik replied, and he said, "I think he survived Order 66, but I'm not sure." And then Jonathan, you listed your 3 reasons why he totally could be alive. And then Nathaniel, so you also mentioned the hate for Mace Windu. Nathaniel says, "I honestly don't get the hate for Mace Windu. He's still one of my faves." And then a new guy, Pierce Malloy, said, "I 100% believe Mace Windu survived. Samuel Jackson himself believes he's alive, and even George Lucas said it's possible. It's going to take more than being thrown out of a window to take down one of the most powerful Jedi ever." I think I agree with them there. I think that it would take a lot. I'm going to go ahead and like that comment. So, Pierce Malloy, if you're there, if you're listening, I just liked your comment on air. So yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment. I think that he is alive. Totally could be. I mean, okay, if if they're going to bring him back, I don't think they're going to go prequel. They're not going to go. They're not going to touch the prequel era for a little bit. They're going to go forward, and I think they're going to throw him into at least flashbacks. There definitely will be some de-aging because he's a bit older than he was. I think it's going to be from the Obi-Wan series, and I think that he's going to get spun off there. He might get his own little miniseries. I don't know. He might just be a supporting character. Here's the thing. You can't have Samuel L. Jackson.
You can't have him being a supporting character. That just doesn't make any sense.
Right. Well, I'm saying you can't have Samuel L. Jackson be wanting to do something already on your payroll in all the Marvel movies. You can't have him want to do something and just be like, meh, whatever. They're going to bring him back. I mean, it's just a good business move. They're going to bring him back.
Everybody wants to do Star Wars, though. This is no secret.
Yeah, but he's already, but he is Samuel L. Jackson, and like that. It's not like just your mom wants to do it. It's like Samuel L. Jackson, the dude, wants to pick up a role that he's already played, and he already has crushed it in the Marvel series. I mean, come on. There's no reason why he shouldn't be brought back. So I think you can give reasons all day of in-universe why he shouldn't be alive, but I can give in-universe reasons why he could be alive and absolutely out-of-universe, real-world reasons why he's totally coming back, at least in some way, shape, or form. And if he can survive, if you can push to make Plo Koon survive that nasty plane crash / blowing up, then I am pretty sure Mace Windu can handle himself when it comes to lightning in a window. So that's just where I stand.
It's respectable. It's respectable. I would not be for him surviving. Personally, I think a few years ago I would have been, but now, especially from what happened with Ahsoka, I hope he's dead, and I hope I hope he's dead. The only thing I think they should do about Mace Windu is explain where his body's laying. That's the only thing that should be interesting about him. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about Mace Windu. I really think Filoni put the final nail in the coffin for him.
Nah. I think he just used him to show the Jedi and how far they'd fallen. No pun intended, Mace. Hey. But no, I'd love to see him alive. I mean, Star Wars Theories on YouTube, his Vader series has Mace Windu alive, and it actually looks. I mean, if you've seen the first episode, it's incredible.
It was good.
So I'm cool with him being alive.
Here's the question: where do you put him? Because here's the thing. I guess. Here's the thing, though. I mean, Obi-Wan series just got pushed back to 2022, so I'm pretty ticked. Quite honestly,
COVID, dude. We've lost 3 months at least.
It's not.
They were in the process of getting new writers. Like, give it a break. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It's not COVID. It's Kathleen Kennedy not knowing what she's doing again, throwing out scripts.
No, I disagree.
He hasn't written a good one yet.
Hey, this is what they should have done for the sequel trilogy, and you have to agree there. They should have taken more time with it and made sure it was what is going to work. And I am content if they want to throw out the script another time, as long as we're going to get the story that brings back Ewan McGregor in his glory and is actually done well. Yeah, I want the scripts to be good. I don't want them rushed. I'm content with waiting for those scripts, and I think that is a safe bet. So I'm content
Oh, we are in
with
complete
why it's
agreement.
taking longer.
We are in complete agreement here. I am not disagreeing with you. I feel like they rushed out too many Star Wars movies. That's why I feel
Right.
like the quality was
So
low.
why are you
No, no,
being
no, no,
why are you
no.
being a pain in the death stick about this?
Because I don't like anything that Kathleen Kennedy puts her paws on. She has not touched anything and made it good yet. I'm dead serious. The reason Rogue One was so good is because she had almost no hand in it. You want to know the reason why
That's not
Solo?
true.
That is true. Kathleen Kennedy had almost no involvement in Rogue One.
That was
She
all Tony Gilroy.
exactly. So you kept picking up what I'm are you picking up what I'm putting down here? Solo, very little involvement from Kathleen Kennedy. Ron Howard, the director of that movie, knew Lucas personally, and Lucas had originally tapped him to be the Phantom Menace director.
Well, yeah, but yeah,
So
okay.
when I'm
So yeah,
saying, listen,
a lot of
I'm
people
not
would
finished my point
disagree and
here.
say that that was a train wreck. I loved it, but it
I
didn't
think
do well at the bottom. I mean, a lot of reasons, but
it's not my favorite, but it was an excellent movie considering it was not Harrison Ford. I mean, it's as good as it possibly could have been, and it was well written. So what I'm saying is here, and of course the Clone Wars, which is all Filoni, and Mandalorian, which is all Filoni and Favreau. All of these things that Kathleen Kennedy has not actively been touching have been good. She was so involved with the sequel trilogy, the firing of Trevorrow, um, all of these different things that she put her nose in. I
well,
don't trust
hey,
anything that she does.
she's the one who fired Lord and Miller from Solo. I mean, so kind of defeating your own logic there. I mean, yeah, Ron Howard did a great job with what he had.
Well,
I
apparently
think
Lord and Miller. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I think you are way too hard on Kathleen Kennedy. She was appointed by GL George Lucas himself. Um, they had a few missteps with the sequel trilogy. I mean, just the sequel trilogy in general, yes. Everything else though has been fine. I mean, the standalones have been great. Disney Plus has been a monstrous hit. Do I love her? No, I don't think she's going to be around too much longer. But let's just relax. I mean, she's not an idiot.
For Star Wars, she is.
She's made some great choices and she's made some bad ones. But I think taking time with the scripts and making sure they're good, I don't have any problem with who is saying that. It doesn't bother me. I mean, Ewan McGregor is in the process with that. Deborah Chow is as well. So it's not like it's just her. I'm fine with it taking longer. I'm not worried about it. They did lose a few months with COVID, and they're probably still losing that because they can't film. I think they were planning to film in the fall, and that obviously is probably not going to happen. So that I think just got pushed back. So I'm not worried about it. As long as Ewan McGregor is positive about it, I don't give a. I was trying to think of a Star Wars reference, but I can't.
I don't give a bantha poodoo.
There you go. I don't give a bantha. No, that's bantha fodder. No, and never mind. It's bad. Anyway, so that's where I'm standing with Obi-Wan.
No,
I'm just excited about that.
I agree with you. Come on, you know that I am. Obviously, I can be stubborn, but I'm open-minded, and I agree with you that I am all for them taking more time on the scripts. I'm just concerned that since it's Kathleen Kennedy throwing them out, I don't know how much I trust her. That's all I'm saying.
My Yoda lie detector indicates that that's a lie.
Oh my gosh.
You are not open-minded. You're very close-minded, sir. But it's okay. You're very much like Mace Windu. You don't even see it. It's very sad.
I'm not quite that brash.
It's very sad.
But now I will say this, just to defend my point, in fairness. We know why George Lucas hired Kathleen Kennedy. Do you remember the reason why?
To be his voice as he was selling the company.
Yes and no. He had a second. There was a main reason he picked Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, please enlighten me on what you think the second reason is. Well, because I know the full timeline, and as he was in the process of selling to Disney, he hired her. Kind of didn't really tell her that he was selling the company. Hired her, and then sold the company just so that he'd have somebody in place to be like a voice box for him. But what do you think?
So when he brought Kennedy on, the plan is that when it went to Disney, is that she was going to take his ideas and implement some of them. Now, if you heard his interview on his opinion on the sequel trilogy, it was not pretty. he was actually kind of offended at what they did, especially during his post Force Awakens interview. He was
Well, yeah, well
actually
they were trying to work together, and that was largely Iger. I mean, that was not as much Kathleen Kennedy. I think you need to be aware of that. That was largely Iger, and that was them calling shots. And they were trying to work with George Lucas, it just didn't work. So to blame that on Kathleen Kennedy, that was Bob Iger. That was those upper, because that wasn't. I mean, I'm sure Kathleen was going to work with George. So I think you need to be a little nicer to her. She's a person. She's a real person.
Hey,
Real nice beings.
I have no problem against her with her other movies. I really don't. She's done a lot of fantastic things. No one's taken that away from her. I'm just saying she shouldn't be touching Star Wars. That's all I'm saying. Is because, as you know, as the fandom knows, Star Wars is one of those things where we don't expect good. We don't expect great. We expect excellence. I mean, it is seriously the most beloved series of all time. More than Harry Potter, more than Star Trek,
No,
more than
Harry
Lord of
Potter's
the
not even on
Rings.
that list. No offense to
Uh
the Potterheads.
oh, come on. J.K. Rowling was brilliant. That's easy top 5. I'm just saying is Star Wars is a new, a completely in a league of its own animal. Um, and I don't think look at the way that they did the sequel trilogy that she should have anything to do with the franchise, because I felt like they could have went a lot of different directions, made those movies a lot better without playing the politics. And this is everyone's argument against this. Like, oh, well, Star Wars has always been political. No, Star Wars has not always been political. The prequel trilogy, we see them involved with politics, but there is no political statements made other than let's not let one guy rule the whole world like Hitler and own the galaxy. That's all. I mean, that's seriously
You
seriously the case
clearly
that's
did
made.
not watch the original trilogy in context here. That was like, it was a complete. I mean, it was very much relating to the Vietnam War. So don't tell me it's not political.
That's
it
a
is what it
stretch.
is.
That's a
Yeah,
stretch.
that's not a
I can
stretch.
see it, but I think it's a stretch.
Come on. Anyway, moving on because I'm tired of this.
uh, I
Really
love
tired
you.
of
I
this.
love you, bro. You're the
Uh
best.
huh. Yeah. Whatever. All right. So something else came up. So Dave Filoni was quoted from the Nerdist. I think it's a website, I guess. The Nerdist, talking about Clone Wars and the potential future of that one. And Dave said, "I don't know. Personally, for me, probably not." He shared about the series possibly earning more adventures. I have a lot of things I'm excited that we're doing and looking forward to. I think it's hard because I so appreciate the fan support, and I appreciate. Maybe I should read it like Dave. I so appreciate the fan support, and I appreciate just how excited everybody was that we were back. I understand them wanting more and more episodes. The people that worked on it, myself and the team, basically all the leads, they were on the original run, and I think it shows. Yeah, we're really thankful that we got to finish it. But I also think creatively, you always want to move forward. So that was a really bad Dave
Wow, you
Filoni.
sounded
That
like
was like Dave Filoni and Kip
you
from.
sound like Dave Filoni and George Lucas had a love child. That's what that sounded
Yeah,
like.
yeah. Oh, this is more Dave. You're gonna more down the throat. He added. I think
No,
you could get stuck in a situation
this is
where
more Dave.
suddenly.
This is more Dave. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, that's
to
it.
some extent, that's more Dave Filoni.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's
Yeah,
more to the quote. Let me read it.
you're too
You
nasally.
know, I think you can get stuck in a situation where suddenly we're doing all these stories again. Man, it still sounds like Kip. But where's the ending? I don't want that feeling. I want you to feel like this had a purpose and it rounded out, and let's find something new that's exciting. We've got to look forward a bit here, but boy, that was really satisfying to get to do. I can't even tell you how grateful we all are that people were there for it to watch and support it. Disney Plus supported us greatly to get this done. It was a great effort by everybody that understood what Clone Wars meant to people. It feels good. I'm glad it's done. So there you have it.
Yeah,
Clone
I
Wars is been put into the vault, and I think that we're done.
I think that's not unexpected, but you have to also read in between the lines of what Dave Filoni is saying. Is despite the actual Clone Wars being over, obviously because they are over. I mean, chronologically, canonically, they are over at that event because then the Empire takes over. it doesn't mean we're not going to get more adventures with these characters and perhaps another series. Because, once again, there was a lot of openings. He left the door open for a lot of different things to happen at the end of that series. He did. And he's done this before. He did it with Rebels. He left that totally open ended, and we know we're going to get something else from that. It's not going to be Rebels, but it's going to be some sort of extension sequel series to that. So,
Star Wars Resistance.
oh gosh, no, shoot me.
Did you ever watch that series? I watched the whole thing. It was like 2 seasons.
I couldn't stomach it. I had to stop.
It was pretty rough. There were a couple of things that were cool, but yeah, it was
don't
definitely.
get me wrong. For us as adults, don't get me wrong. Star Wars is for kids and adults. That was legitimately made for little kids so that they can kind of get the feel for Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it had no bearing.
It served its purpose, and it's great for little kids. Don't get me wrong, but as a mature adult, I don't particularly enjoy watching the Wiggles or Barney the dinosaur anymore. So I just can't enjoy Resistance. But at least it's going to start little kids up with a love for Star Wars. So that's a plus side to it. I just personally,
Kaz was a really cool character. I liked it. Well, he was an idiot, and he was a dunce, and he was a mess, and he fell a lot, but he was okay. I liked his voice. He watched his father get blown up on Starkiller Base, not Starkiller Base, on well, no, I think I can't remember now. It's irrelevant. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think he's excited about Mandalorian, Dave Filoni. I think he's excited about the next part of Rebels. My goodness, I've heard rumors of a Thrawn live action series.
Same.
That would be so nice.
From what I have read, apparently this, because I've been doing a lot of different research on the Thrawn series, it appears that actually is going to happen. That we are.
It's all hearsay. I mean, honestly, even Ahsoka being a Mandalorian is still technically a rumor. I think that's a very, very credible rumor.
Well, look at what Filoni's posted. Filoni has thrown so many hints.
Yeah, well, he's always done that. He loves to stir the pot.
But does he ever not end up pouring out the pot? No, he always does. He just stirs it up for a long time until it comes out. Let's be real. Filoni always keeps his promises. It seems to me that he's pretty much, without slapping someone directly in the face with the information, he's just kind of gently telling the fans, yeah, guys, Ahsoka's coming back. Just be patient. I'm Dave Filoni. I can do what I want. Just chill. Just here's a little hint. Think on this one for a bit, because then he's the best at this. He gets the Star Wars fandom hyped, like better than anybody else. We know Filoni's doing something, and he throws out these crazy hints. Everybody goes crazy. He's just so good at it. He must have learned it from George Lucas. So I don't know. I think it's credible that we're going to probably get a Thrawn series. There's been actually a lot of rumor about who in the world they're going to pick to play Thrawn. There's been two big picks, two big ideas on who they would pick. One of which was the guy you suggested, who actually voiced Thrawn himself. That was Lars Mikkelsen, right?
Yeah, from I only know him in person from Sherlock. He was, I think it was second last season, or one of the last seasons of the British show Sherlock with Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yep.
He was one of the villains in that. So that's where I know him from. I know he's been in a ton of other stuff.
And we know his brother from Rogue One.
He was what?
His brother is in Rogue One, who plays Galen Erso.
Oh gosh, they're related?
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't. That's interesting.
Oh, I could have sworn that you knew that they were brothers.
Wait, what's Galen's name? I forgot his name.
Do you mean the guy who plays Galen?
The actor.
That's
yes.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Well, that's weird.
They're brothers. I didn't know that you didn't know that.
Well, how? I mean, I didn't even know. I mean, I don't know much about Galen Erso's actor. I mean, I'd never seen him before, so that was interesting. That's
they're brothers, and they're both in the Star Wars universe. What do you? That's a dream for us.
Thrawn is like a billion times cooler.
Okay, well,
he did. So Lars Mikkelsen did justice to the Thrawn voice, and for me, if you don't have the Thrawn voice, then you don't have Thrawn. Like that, Thrawn's like Ahsoka. It's like, yeah, like her voice is important, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be like a deal breaker. But Thrawn, like that is it's almost a character in itself. His voice and the way he speaks.
I
So if you don't have that right, then
I agree with you. I think the voice is everything. He's obviously one of the two main choices that they would pick to play a Thrawn. Um, I I obviously think he could pull off the look too. I really do think he could pull it off. And of course, the voice is everything. It's that delivery and the ability to articulate like Thrawn, which is important. I mean, that's who Thrawn is. So of course, Mickelson's the number one. But then, of course, the other big one that people are talking about is Jason Isaacs, who played Lucius Malfoy in Harry Potter. He could do it. Unquestionably, could pull it off. I mean, he looks like Thrawn, and at the same time, he has a very slow, methodical voice like Thrawn, and he could easily manipulate his voice to sound like him. So I think this is pretty interesting because I really do expect there to be a Thrawn series. Um, I really do. In the next 3 years, I'd be surprised if we don't get one. Not saying we're going to get like seasons and seasons, but we're at least going to get a legitimate story on Thrawn. Uh, and of course, he
well,
is,
his new prequel books launch. Um, geez, here in a couple weeks. Actually, I think it's coming out
and they're
really soon.
they're officially canon, right?
Oh yeah, everything that's released now is
Oh,
canon.
that's true. That's true.
Everything.
Well, I'm gonna make. I'm gonna. This is might be a bold statement. Forgive me if I am wrong, but I'm gonna give my opinion here. He has got to be the most beloved and popular expanded universe character in Star Wars history. Would you
For sure,
agree?
he's definitely up there outside of the Darth Bane. And yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think as of this point, because he's actually had some mainstream exposure now, Thrawn is number one. So Thrawn Ascendancy, his prequel book did get moved. It's supposed to come out in June. It got moved to October, and I'm kind of bummed about it. I already have it pre-ordered on Audible because there's nothing like hearing a Thrawn book read to you by Mark Thompson. Ugh, what a
Mm.
man! If he could play that part, my goodness, I like his voice is perfect. He's played it since like the '90s. But if you like, those audiobooks are incredible. But yeah, that prequel comes out. He's already had 3 books written in canon, and then obviously the 3 from the Dark Empire series. But this new one comes out. It's a prequel while he's actually still with the Chiss. Comes out in October. Expected, at least. It got pushed back for like the second time, so I'm kind of bummed. But I'm very, very, very excited about it.
Well, yeah, me too. I think it's gonna be fantastic. Um, I do appreciate. I do appreciate that some of these expanded universe characters are actually becoming canon. There's just one thing that Disney hasn't done yet, which I actually believe they will do. I'm actually going to give Disney some credit here. I actually think now that they are listening to the fans, we are going to get to see the other most popular character of all time in the expanded universe become canon. Do you know who that is, Mark? Can you just take a guess?
Jonathan, I don't know where your mind is ever going, so
That's fair, but come on.
maybe don't leave anybody in suspense and just get right to it, because usually your theories are a little wacko and off the wall. So I'll just let you talk and I'll just listen
I just wanted to know if you
and
would have
silently
any
judge.
guesses. No, I believe in this new Star Wars series that they are coming out with, not Rian Johnson's. Who knows what's going to happen with that one? Um, the other trilogy that is confirmed to be produced, I do believe that we are going to see Darth Revan finally be canonized.
Oh, come on.
They'd be crazy not to canonize him. He is. Do you know how many posts have been made about Revan? They need Revan to be canonized. Remember, Filoni considered this. Do you remember this interview? Do you remember this interview he had?
I'm not a big fan of KOTOR and that stuff, so quite frankly, no.
Well, that's the rumor. That's the rumor, is that this is going to be an Old Republic trilogy, which I'd be totally for, by the way.
Well, no, that I think we kind of that got scrapped when the High Republic stuff for the books are coming out in August. Well, it's supposed to be August. It's going to be January now. Um, I think that was they were close, but they were off. So I don't think we're touching Old Republic. I think High Republic is where we're going to sit for a while.
I don't know. I don't get me wrong. I think you could be right, but I think they'd be crazy not to canonize Revan. He is so immensely popular in the fandom, despite him technically not being canon yet. and I just think there's so many ways they could go with him. Yeah, if they were to do it, people would be going
Well, here's
crazy.
the thing, dude. That's just a wish list, and I think you have to realize that it's a wish list.
Well, Filoni talked about
So,
making canon Revan. Do you remember this?
I mean, yeah, but again, that's Dave Filoni. That's probably a decade ago. I mean, don't worry. I don't know. I don't think so. That might be in the late future, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon because there's so much more stuff they can do. I don't think they're going to focus on a KOTOR character, on a Legends character, a character that wasn't honestly, dude. Like a lot of people that love Star Wars don't know who that is. Like that's like your super nerd fans that really loved KOTOR. Um, I am a super nerd fan, but I wasn't. It just wasn't KOTOR wasn't my thing. I just never. I honestly never really got into it. By the time I was like interested in Star Wars, I think it already had been made into Legends. And anyway,
Let me
I don't.
challenge
I don't
you
think
on that.
so.
Let me challenge you on
No.
that. I agree. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you that it's more of the nerdy fans who might have heard of Revan. But let's be real. How many Star Wars fans come to the theaters every year, and they're only nominal fans? They only watch the main movies anyway.
A
Well, obviously, there's a
lot of
lot.
them.
There's a lot. So it's not going to hurt the other part of the fandom if they put Revan in, because they're not going to know any different. The real fans, well, not the real
No, the
fans,
only
the
the
big
only
fans.
only inclination of Revan you're getting is episode 9 and the oh man, what was it? The statues or the people in the chanting and Palpatine and the worst scene in the whole movie. I forget. But oh wait, was it the ships? The ships I think were named. I don't know. Something was named after the Sith of the past, and I can't remember what it was.
Oh,
Might have been the ship.
I was talking about Filoni putting him into the Clone Wars series because
No,
that
no.
he talked about that. You know,
Well, Bane was in it barely, but I mean, you're gonna get references. I mean, they might be quote unquote I mean, he's already really technically been canonized by that reference to him in Rise of Skywalker. So that's about all you're gonna get, kid. Good luck. I mean, I'm just a realist. Like that just doesn't make sense. You're also your really stupid idea about the Bothan Spies movie pre Episode 6, Return of the
I
Jedi,
just said it would
about
be
how they
cool.
stole. Like,
Sue
why
me.
in the world would we need a second story? Like, all right, we already had one almost pointless story about how we got the original Death Star plans. Let's make a second one with faceless goons to see how they got the second Death Star. Come on, dude.
How
It's just
dare
absurd.
you insult Rogue One like that? How
Well,
dare
okay.
you,
No,
sir?
no. Let me put a stick in your mouth real quick. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. What the
So
heck?
how about you shush and you listen? Because when that Rogue One first got announced, it was like, oh, we thought this was gonna be Boba. Oh, this looks fun and irrelevant. It was amazing and it was great. Like, oh my gosh, it
Top
was.
3 all time.
It's not my top 3, but the last half of that movie gives me like Scarif is amazing. Anyway, but when it first was announced, it was like, that's dumb. I wish they had like maybe thought through that a little bit more. I mean, it was an interesting idea. I'm surprised it got greenlit. Glad it did. It was awesome. But
Best
they're not gonna do that again. I mean, oh gosh, what kind of it's like it's like having a second Death Star. It's like, really, can we not think of anything new? Dude, Bothan Spies are the weirdest, creepiest looking things ever. So, come on. Like,
Rogue One. Rogue
we're
One.
not talking about
Yeah,
Rogue One.
no. Bill, let me make my very quick argument here. Rogue
Oh,
One
right.
is the
Very quick.
best. Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie Disney's ever produced. Period. No argument. It is
7, and then Rogue One. Well, I don't know.
Rogue
7 was
One.
good.
Rogue One was original, but yet it stayed true to the originals.
They all died.
It was absolutely incredible. Rogue One was unbelievable. Okay, so why not? I'm not saying that it's the best idea. I'm not saying you turn this into a movie, but we're getting a Cassian Andor prequel, which everyone's going to like because
Because of K2SO.
because K2SO and Cassian were incredible characters, so we want to see more of them. Why
Well,
not?
specifically K2.
Why not dive in to one of the most mysterious characters in Star Wars? We've only seen a Bothan spy on screen one time in the whole franchise. We've only heard one referenced one time in the whole franchise. And
Yeah, but here's the thing. They're not grasping at straws to make movies. So okay. I don't know why I
No, no,
brought this up.
no, but
Movies
no,
make
no.
me
But
so.
then we
It's
hear,
ridiculous. It's absurd. You're
but
ridiculous.
then we hear Mon Mothma say, "Many Bothans died to bring us this information." People are like, "What the heck are Bothans? How
And
did they
that's
get this?"
incredible. You know what, Jonathan? You'll be happy. You'll be lucky to even get a comic book even referencing that. Not even about the story. Even referencing that is not gonna happen. All right.
You make me
Okay.
sad. You make me sad.
Well, you make me mad. So, uh, you are your weird theories are blatantly annoying, and sometimes I wonder how long you must sit in a dark room, a very humid dark room, sweating, thinking about these gross ideas for Star Wars.
How is that a
I
gross
do not get
idea?
it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, all right,
Okay,
moving
well,
on.
our listeners, you tell
Oh,
me if that's such a ridiculous
yes,
idea.
all four of you, please. I'll put my phone number out there. You can text me if you actually think that's a good idea.
Wow,
Same.
this is this is terrible. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, it is. It's terrible. Moving on. Um, so have you actually gotten the chance? So I got two things. Have you seen any of the Mandalorian galleries,
Yes.
the behind the scenes? Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about those because I think you just need to watch those. There's nothing like too spoilery, but there is one episode about the technology that they use and how they film it. It is amazing. It's so good. So you need to check those out. That's technology. I think is episode 4, and it
You
is
will see why
amazing.
why they have such a big budget to make movies. It's because they need it. You should see what
Well,
they do.
and that has really honestly decreased their budget with what they're doing. With I think it's not the dome. It's called the oh man, I can't remember the name of it now. Dang it, I know that it's not, anyway. But you gotta watch it. Just a small tidbit there. We're not gonna talk too much about that because we've already wasted 40 minutes talking about Mace Windu, Bothans, Revan.
It's not a
Oh, man,
waste.
that's a waste. Half, 3/4 of that is a waste. 2/3 of that, sorry. Waste. I might just cut it all.
Wow.
But so have you? I have not gotten a chance to watch this yet, but I did get to watch the trailer, and I think it's just now. The first episode was just released of Jedi Temple Challenge. Have you heard of that?
Jedi Temple Challenge. Wait a minute. I know that there's a game like
What?
the
No,
Jedi.
it's the game show with Ahmed Best.
Oh, that thing. No, I haven't gotten to see that first episode yet. No.
No, it's on. It's actually, you don't even need Disney Plus. It's on YouTube, and I think it's on their Facebook. But it's actually hosted by Ahmed Best, and I was watching some interviews behind the scenes stuff. So for those of you who don't know, Ahmed Best plays Jar Jar, and he's awesome. So he's actually been on screen before. He was in episode 2 in the Cantina as basically himself. So he's actually playing a legit. It's not just like a game show where you have a host. Like he's a legit Star Wars character with a name and a story, and he's actually a Jedi, and he is basically training young Jedi, like Padawans. Pretty cool, younglings. So it's really, really cool idea. I love that they actually have a story behind it, and his name is Kelleran Beck, Beq for his last name, Kelleran Beck, and he didn't give out too much specifications in that interview, but he said that he's actually related somehow to the guy that you see in episode 2. If you look close enough, you can see him at best in the background during the cantina scene where Obi-Wan and Anakin go in there to find Zam Wessel, and Obi-Wan cuts off her arm, and you don't want to sell me death sticks. I don't want to sell you death sticks, that stuff. So he's in that scene, and apparently his new character is related to him. He's also joined by a droid AD3, and the Astromech LX R5. So R5 and 83 oversee training, which is broken into 3 hidden temple segments. In part 1, 3 teams compete to assemble their lightsaber hilts by overcoming obstacles. Freaking getting to build a lightsaber. I'm so jealous of this group of 12-year-olds that get to compete in this. I wish I was 10 years younger. I would so dig this. But I think it's awesome. Game shows are fun, and having something Star Wars based is awesome. Like you got to look at the set. The set looks so cool. It's like legit Endor out there. It looks really cool. I am
Well,
man, I'm
and
excited.
it is freaking Ahmed Best. I love Ahmed Best.
Oh yeah, he's
He
great.
is the best. Like, oh my
Mhm.
goodness. And this has
And
been
because of this, he actually got his blue check mark on Twitter finally. So
well.
congratulations, Ahmed Best. We applaud you.
You sir are the bestest of the Gungans. Um, that's my Jar
Yeah.
Jar. I try to do it as well as Ahmed. I'm not quite as good as Ahmed, but I'm getting there.
Oh, Jonathan, they hear it. Anybody who listens hears this every week.
This
So
is true. They get to hear my Jar
yeah,
Jar. So,
yeah.
but this is another cool thing about Ahmed Best, and I hope that this ends up turning out to be true. Well, it will actually come to pass because there has been a large following on Twitter, a large group of people pushing for Jar Jar to make another appearance with Ahmed Best,
Yes,
and he
and
has said he would do it.
well, depending on the story.
Depending on the story, of course, but let's be real, they wouldn't
Well,
just
that's really like what he was quoting. He was like, he so I'm reading his tweet right now. He said, "I would return as hashtag Jar Jar Binks, but it really depends on the story." That's like straight from his Twitter. I mean, I would dig it, dude. I love Jar Jar. Like,
we need to
he's
bring him back.
cool.
I love Jar Jar.
And
I'm
if
dead
they made
serious.
him Darth Jar Jar in some way, shape, or form, or at least paid some homage to that, I would die. That'd be amazing.
Maybe he could finally be Darth Jar Jar now that he's off the planet and his secret identities. He's been helping Grand Admiral Thrawn this whole time build a new empire.
All right. Well, see, there you go, just ruining it again. Why do you got to ruin stuff?
Hey man, I'm just trying to give Darth Jar Jar a bone. It was pretty
No, no,
fantastic.
no. I gave him the bone by even mentioning him, and then you just let your imagination run wild. Except you take that away from everybody and just way overshoot everyone's imagination, and then get them unexcited about literally everything.
I have an active imagination. What can I say? That's why I'm so fun at my age. My whole age of 27.
Yeah.
But
I don't
no.
even know what to say now.
Anyway.
You've killed the Star Wars mood. It's gone.
Hey, come on, man. It's Jar Jar. We all want to see Jar Jar come back. I'm just saying, if they bring him back, they better make it really stinking cool. Because I do enjoy Jar Jar. He is one of the reasons, as a little kid, of course, other than what we all watched the original trilogy first. We were like 5 and 6, but seeing Jar Jar, it really got me even more into Star Wars. So I'd love to see him back. And Ahmed is a fantastic guy. He took a lot of heat over that part from some angry Star Wars fans who thought he was goofy and ridiculous, but that was kind of the point of his character. Is he's supposed to be goofy and ridiculous, and he is
Great.
he is a hero. Yeah, I mean sometimes, and this is what George Lucas has always done. People have forgotten this. George Lucas loves to put into his movies powerful people underestimating those who are not powerful. He
And
loves to
I'll
do
add
that.
to that. He told Ahmed Best that people don't get it right now, but in 20 years they will. And what do we see now, over 20 years later, from Phantom Menace? We see that movie honestly getting a completely new look. Like, I wish they would re-review that movie now, and I think it would have totally different ratings because it really is aged well. It's like a fine wine, and honestly, Jar Jar's aged well too. And that's the thing. George Lucas has always been a decade or two ahead of his time, and he predicted that in 20 years that people will be looking at Episode 1, Phantom Menace, a lot differently, and I think they are. And I'm really happy and excited to see Ahmed Best kind of get his time in the spotlight, and honestly, I think it's good for him to be able to be out of Jar Jar and be his own thing,
Yeah,
actually be his face. I'm excited for him. He's had an interesting story. If you haven't yet, just look up Ahmed Best Jar Jar. He's got a story about how he almost committed suicide, and it's crazy, but it's also really sad. But it's really cool now to see kind of where Jar Jar's come and where Ahmed Best has come from that. So I'm excited. I would love to see more Jar Jar. Ahmed Best, you are awesome. You rock. You're a rock star.
and thank you, George Lucas, for sticking to your guns and keeping him in the movie. Anyway,
Also, thank you for CGI motion capture.
nope.
Freaking first CGI character ever, and now everybody uses that technology thanks to Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, guys. So don't diss on Jar Jar. He's the bomb.
Yeah, if you want to hate in the prequels, I got something else coming for you, because prequels literally made every movie you love. The Marvel movies, if it wasn't for the prequels, they wouldn't be there. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, the prequels were the bomb. I gotta agree with you. They're still my favorites, and
Makes me happy.
Phantom Menace has moved up significantly on my list over even the last year. It has moved up into my top 5. Um, so I have, even as a Star Wars fan who likes the movie, I now like the movie even more. I watched it, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, and I actually got chills watching the movie. I don't recall. I haven't gotten chills since seeing Rogue One and seeing Red Leader and Gold Leader show up out of nowhere in that movie. I haven't gotten chills pretty much ever in a Star Wars movie, with a few exceptions. And Phantom Menace did it to me. Like I got chills watching, um, you know, Anakin pod racing and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon appearing in the very first scene, getting their lightsabers out. And I was thinking to myself, my gosh, how cool this would have been to see this in theaters, to realize it's been so long since we've had a Star Wars movie. And in the first scene, you get to see them take out their lightsabers, and it's Obi-Wan. Like, it must have been incredible. So I got chills. So, but yeah, well done, George Lucas.
Yeah.
We don't deserve you, but thank you for these movies. You have changed. Literally, they have changed the world. Not even kidding. What would the world be like without Star Wars?
A lot sadder, I'll tell you that.
A lot sadder.
All right, so to close, I actually found that the list of potential Thrawn actors, and then talk about what's coming up next in the next few weeks, and then we'll take it home. So the list that Jonathan was referencing earlier is for Thrawn. We got Jason Isaacs. That's who you mentioned earlier, John.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Isaacs seems to be the front runner. And if you look at the book Thrawn Alliances, Thrawn looks a lot like Jason Isaacs. Same facial features, and he's also no stranger to the Star Wars universe. He also voiced Ring-a-ding-ding, the Grand Inquisitor in Star Wars Rebels. Though this article says Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and that's wrong. And you guys suck.
Wait, Jason Isaacs voiced that guy? You
didn't know he's a Grand Inquisitor? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how did I miss that? Yes, that's totally him. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So another one is Lance Reddick.
What the heck is that?
I don't know. He it doesn't have much info, but
good job, Star Wars article.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Lance Reddick, Lars Mikkelsen.
There you go.
Yeah, his brother Mads Mikkelsen. Look at that. He played Galen Erso. But Lars is also the voice of Thrawn in Star Wars Rebels. He also looks a bit like him. I can see that. I don't know. I think Lars would be the logical choice, because he's not just a voice actor. But Jason Isaacs would be good too. Aldis Hodge, who looks very familiar. I don't know a lot of actors' names. Let's see. Hold on.
Aldis Hodge?
Aldis Hodge. Most recently featured in The Invisible Man. Oh. Commanding presence and subtle when he needs to be. A perfect match for Thrawn. John Hamm is known for comedy and drama. Not so much action. All right. I don't know where they're getting this list from, to be honest.
Hold on for a second. Aldis Hodge. I'm looking this guy up.
He, I know his face. I see pictures, but I can't think of what.
For a second, I thought he was Donald Glover in this one picture, but he looks like he looks like a young Chris Tucker, like baby Chris Tucker.
Okay. And then,
you know I love Rush Hour.
Yeah, it's a good movie. The last one is, I'm sorry, dude, I'm going to butcher your name. Adewale Akinowo Agbaje.
Spell that first name? How do you spell that first name?
No.
No.
Adewale. Adewale. It's not how you say it, but that's how you spell it. Anyway.
I think that's Adwali. It is
Adwali. Oh my gosh, I know him now. He's Mr. Echo on Lost. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's Adwali.
Akinowo. I think I got the last name close. Anyway, this is not a Dude,
Yeah.
all 3 parts of his name starts with A. That's crazy.
Wow, he's
Dude,
triple A.
I know, is literally AAA. That's the coolest thing in the world. Anyway, he was also in Thor: The Dark World. I did not know that. Anyway, so there you go. That's the list. That was bad. I was unprepared and off the cuff, but we have an answer now. So I would love to see that happen. I'm not getting my hopes up because it's kind of a long shot, but I'm okay with that. So
I never get my hopes up anymore. I just kind of have to take it step at a time.
Yep, one step at a time into a larger world.
That's right.
So the next couple weeks, guys, here on the Coruscant Courier podcast, we're going to have a few guests coming up soon. Some good friends of ours. We actually have a friend who's going to start reviewing every Star Wars movie in chronological order. Is not a big fan, but is quite gifted in the tellings of stories. So he will give his responses here in the next coming weeks, starting with episode 1. We thought we would do it this week, but he said, and I quote, "I just don't think I feel like watching episode 1 this weekend." So
I took offense.
That's fair. It's fair. But we'll get him here next week, I hope. And then we'll have some discussion as well with some more guests. So we're excited for what's ahead.
Well, and to explain more on that, Mark, to explain more on our friend coming on here, it's going to be fun for us as Star Wars fans to hear a non-fan, in the sense of he's not like a huge Star Wars freak. He just kind of takes the movies for what they are. He doesn't really have any connection to the series. It's going to be cool to hear an opinion from, I'm going to say it like this, an outsider, to be able to tell us, hey, what's your honest opinion on this movie? I mean, really, I rarely meet someone who has that kind of an approach to a Star Wars movie. I don't know about you. That's just my personal experience. So I think it's going to be really cool to kind of get that perspective.
It's going to be interesting for sure. I mean, we are Star Wars freaks, but he is a Babu freak.
Droid is ready.
Wow, that was actually really good.
I can't remember what else he says, but
Babu Frik.
That was really good. I'm impressed. I didn't know that you could do these kind of things.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I mean, he was the best part of episode 9. I would watch 2 hours of Babu Frik before putting on Rise of Skywalker again. We can talk about that next week.
That's fair. I understand. That's how I feel about all of them. So.
Well, no, I loved 7. I was good with 8, but 9 was just a bad movie. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for today. We'll leave you on the cliffhanger of Rise of Skywalker sucks. And we will see you guys next week. Well, we won't see you. And frankly, you won't see us, but you'll hear us. We won't hear you unless you send us a message. You should do that.
Yes, please do that. We would appreciate that. We're lonely.
Yes, please, somebody back me up and tell Jonathan how dumb he is. All right, so we're leaving for the day, leaving for the week. Jonathan, take us home.
Excuse me, but the most safest place would be the Gungan City. So you should follow me out today.
Okay, you just lost like half that line at least.
I know. I'm sorry. Let me try that again.
Way to be prepared. No, we're ending it. This is Coruscant Courier podcast. Thanks for listening. This was Mark and Jonathan. Just remember, the Force will be with you always. Let's take it home. Now this is podcasting.
How rude.